It could take a year to practice some Spanish.
Hello, and welcome to a special edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we're going to do something a bit different. We're going to pit the 11 times crossword champion and 10 time in a row times crossword champion against a puzzle that was used to select code breakers in World War II. So the story goes that the Daily Telegraph published a puzzle and invited anyone who could solve it in less than 12 minutes to apply for a special role. We've probably seen, if you've seen Enigma or if you've seen The Imitation Game, this is alluded to in those films. And I think on the 13th of January 1942, said puzzle was published, and 5 people apparently solved the puzzle correctly within the time limit. Now, we're 70 years on, and the conventions and rules surrounding so-called cryptic crosswords have changed quite a lot in that time, as we're about to see. For Mark and I, we could probably do a Daily Telegraph puzzle today in 5 or 6 minutes maximum. I think Mark's done them in under 3 minutes in the past. Let's see how he goes with this puzzle from the 13th of January 1942.
Okay, so I'm about to attempt the famous Bletchley Park crossword. All I can do is promise I haven't looked at the clues and start the clock. Off we go. Stage company, no. Official construction. Whew, okay, this is definitely harder than a normal telegraph crossword these days, but I suppose that's to be expected. Is this time? Double word play, no definition. Cinema? Dunno. Just a definition. Wow, this is really different. Okay. One of the evergreens, blimey. Remedy for a burn, olive oil? I don't know, maybe it is privet. That works. Business with the end inside. When hammering. 28. I might of course use this tool to core an apple. No. This sign of the zodiac has no connection with the fishes. Is it not Pisces? Preservative of teeth must be enamel, surely. Lame dogs. That's an old proverb. Silencer, I suppose, must be part of a motor. Scales. Fishes, connection, fair enough. Oh, what's that? Go away. Hang on, just need to see some more clues there, sorry about that. 29 down, Rodin is the famous sculptor, obviously. 30, this part of the locum bogey. Wow, 28 across has to be centre bit. Let's try and get into the top right. Oh, disagreeable company keeps saying that. Debtors may have to this money for their debts, unless of course their creditors do it to the debts. Repay? Direct route preferred by the Roundheads. Scented. Whoa. Okay, this is a tough part of the puzzle. Much that could be got from a timber merchant. Great deal. Okay, so business agenda. Is this town ready for a flood? Newark. Okay, 14. Ada must be the right sort of woman to start a dame school. 5 down. Oh no, 6 down. Remit. That's two slightly different meanings of remit. 7 down. Boat that should be able to suit anyone. 8 down. Gear. 10 across. Scented with an M. Perfume. But that doesn't work. The direct route favour shortcut. That must be a reference to their haircuts. 5 down. A disagreeable company. I suppose is a horde. 7. Boats that should be able to suit anyone. Cutter. Is that a Taylor reference, I think? Gear. And then scented. Aromatic. Gear is tackle, of course. 19 down. When hammering, take care not to hit this. It must be right something. 24. Fashion of a famous French family. Gucci? They could be French. I'm not sure. 21. 31. Once used for unofficial currency. Oh, Lord. A sport in a hurry. Racing. An illumination of functioning is a light. Yeah, racing. So it's some sort of nail. What is a right nail? Have I got that wrong? Rusty nail? I suppose you take care not to hit your fingernail, but making sound as a bell. Half a fortnight of old. That's a sin. Stupid old word. Okay, 31. Once used for unofficial currency. Token. Talon. 20 down. Making sound as a bell. Knelling. I can't think of any other 8-letter words. Or could be making, but also sound as a bell. I don't know. Fashion of a famous French family. Genre. Genre would allow knelling. But then once used for unofficial currency. Talon? This is a possible answer, but I'm not confident about any of right nail, knelling, genre, or talon. But what else could right nail be? When hammering, take care not to hit this. Rusty nail? I don't know. Token felt okay for once used for unofficial currency, but I don't know. 24. Fashion of a famous French family. I mean, I don't know. Does that mean that? Not really. Making sound as a bell. Tolling, knelling, ringing, pinging, dinging, jingling or something. And then I think I'm probably going to go for this. Once used for unofficial currency. I don't know why a talon was talent, tillen. No, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to stop the clock here. I've spent nearly probably 2 minutes thinking about that. It'll be very interesting to know if I've got that right or not. We shall have to see. Pretty confident about the other 3 corners. I mean, there could be a mistake, but they all felt like they came together right. Right nail. Did you hit the right nail? Take care not to hit this when hammering. Right. Was ash the only tree that begins with an A? I'm sure it is. Tree. Fashion of a famous French family. Genre. I'm thinking the reason I went with genre is because as an English word, I suppose it can mean a fashion, sort of, and in French it's more a family of things, but the meanings are so similar that would be considered a very unfair clue. I think racing's alright. Right nail, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. But then I can't think of any better answers. Making sound as a bell. It'll be very interesting to see whether this is the right solution or not. All we can do is find out. Okay.
Wow. So there we go. I can tell you, as somebody who's also just tried to do this puzzle, that Mark's time there is pretty crazy. That is extremely fast, given how strange this form of crossword is. I mean, we saw it with impale there. I mean, impale had absolutely no definition, and several of the answers seem to be closer to jokes than clues in the way that we'd interpret them nowadays. So when hammering, take care not to hit this, I thought that was going to be a wrong note, a reference to playing the piano. In fact, right nail was the correct answer there. So it just seems to be saying that generally while one's hammering in nails, make sure you hit the right nail, which is I mean, it's an extraordinary answer. It doesn't seem to feature in any dictionary that I've looked at. However, what we must also admit is that there are a couple of mistakes in Mark's solution. So right nail was correct, but I think it's guise was the intended answer for the fashion of a famous French family. And there are some relatively famous French people with the surname Guise. Fashion is a guise. I suppose we can understand that. Once used for unofficial currency was token. You saw Mark make reference to it as a possible answer, but it seemed a bit loose, and he went for talon in the end because that fitted with knelling, whereas I think the answer intended there was tinkling to fit with guise. So yeah, maybe Mark wouldn't have made it through to Bletchley Park, which is a sobering thought for the rest of us. Yeah, because I can assure you that if anyone should have been there to try and crack Enigma, it's somebody like Mark Goodliffe. But what an interesting experience, what an interesting thing to see. In due course we may even put up my own attempt, which is a lot less impressive, and features a lot more head banging, although I think I do manage not to swear. So, hope that was interesting, bit of a different episode, and we'll see you again next time on Cracking the Cryptic.